Hi, friends. Susan Blackwell from the Spark File here to let you know that the doors are open for the Spark File Illume, a 9-month group creativity coaching mastermind that invites you to be the Chief Creative Officer and Chief Marketing Officer of your creativity. But what does that mean? That means in 9 months in Illume, you will clarify and advance your big creative goals and learn how to effectively share your work with the world. Now, if you're listening to this and you're an experienced creative or an accomplished professional who seeks a space where it is safe to attempt something you've never tried before, or complete a big creative project, or take your work to the next level and acquire the skills needed to share your creative work with the world, Illume might be right for you. We are calling in emotionally intelligent, high-functioning creatives who are ready to level up. You can find out more by going to thesparkfile.com/Illume, but do it now to find out if Illume is right for you and to save with early bird discounts. That's thesparkfile.com/Illume. Take a leap, take a risk. Go to thesparkfile.com/Illume and join us for Illume. This is part 2 of our conversation with Heidi Blickenstaff.
You might want to go back and give part 1 a listen, or not.
However you're doing it right. Enjoy the show.
The Sparkfile podcast may contain profanity and other adult content.
Please use your discretion.
When I bump into something that inspires me, I dump it in my spark file. Could be something that I want to make or how I want to be. I pump it in my spark file. I jump into my spark file. Let's open up the spark file.
Up to a certain point, you spent your life being an interpretive artist.
Yeah,
that's right.
And then you have transitioned into being a creative and originating artist.
Yes.
Yeah.
And producer, I want to hear about this. Can you tell
producer.
us?
And a producer.
Tell us about how, what it is and how it came to be.
I will. I would love to. Doing title of show, I started to grow my little baby creative balls, because up until that point,
little nuts,
little baby nuts.
That's what we used to call her, little nuts,
little baby balls,
little nuts.
But I had not ever created anything up until that point. And, I would not say I was not the book writer that Hunter Bell was, and I was not the composer lyricist that Jeff Bowen was. And Susan, you contributed so much to that process too. I think your balls were bigger than mine at that point. And, but being inside that collaboration, I was encouraged to, say, I feel like I would say it like this. I gave myself a little baby balls voice. And, and over the years, that experience has ruined me, because then I would get into other situations and feel like, I think it would be better if you listened to my idea. And, when you're making a Broadway show and you're an actor, there's really no place for that. Sometimes there is. With Freaky Friday,
Sometimes
I actually had a lot of people. Those creatives are such wonderful, genius people, and that was a very collaborative experience. But I think title of show gave me it planted this seed in me that I do love to create things. And so where that grew was I started creating my own concerts and writing all the banter in between. And people would say to me after the concerts, the banter is the best part. You deliver on the singing too, which is a bonus, but really the banter is the best part.
Sing a little bit.
If they're coming to your concert, they probably know that you can sing your face off and blow their wig back. Yeah. But they may not know what a funny writer you are and what a funny storyteller you are.
Yeah. And that really began me sitting down and writing. And that's hard, as you two both know, to actually sit down and write takes not only discipline, but a certain amount of like, just start. And if it sucks, it's okay. Right. But just like try to catch a vibe of something. Don't judge yourself. Just like write something and then maybe read it to someone you trust, get some feedback and then go back in. But that is it's very difficult to develop that confidence to be able to write. But with my concerts, I started doing that. So I always, from title of show, I had this desire to create. And there was also always a part of me, there's been a part of me forever that has wanted to, as silly as it may sound, I've wanted to make a difference. I've wanted to be able to not just be like, everybody sit back and relax and enjoy this big belt that was given to me. I've actually wanted to see if I could use my superpowers for good in the world. And, over the years, doing things with Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS has always been a highlight. You guys both know we've done things for them. And that was always like, that feels really good and really important. And so whenever anybody at the Actors Fund or anybody at BCEFA would say, how do you feel about helping us with this? Before they would finish the sentence, I would say yes. So the way this particular project started was when we all started to be quarantined, I had certainly a few days of doing what everybody was doing, binge watching stuff on Netflix and doing a puzzle and cooking and doing all that stuff, which is very valuable. And then I started to get, it wasn't enough. I needed a project. I needed focus. I needed to feel useful. And so I knew that BCEFA was raising money for a COVID-19 fund for people in the theater community who were suffering or going to suffer, which is going to be all of us. And I was like, what can I do to help? And so completely unsolicitedly, they didn't ask me to, I started singing songs for BCEFA for donations. And I just sat in my living room where I'm sitting now. And I was like,
and how were you getting those songs out there? Were you on Facebook Live?
I was on Instagram, and that's when I learned how to do Instagram TV, Suze, which I'm going to teach you.
Awesome. Help me in. I need to learn.
So I sang the songs, got donations, and I did it for I want to say 10 or 11 days straight. And then...
And I just want to pause to say those songs and those videos were I know that it feels like it's been 3 years, but it hasn't been that long. And during those first dark days when we were trying to wrap our minds around the tidal wave that was coming, those days were fucking hard.
Yeah.
It was hard to get speaking for myself, it was hard to get out of bed. And those songs were real bright lights in those days.
Sorry, please go.
It was a real treat.
Yeah. It was, thanks guys. I of course did it for everybody else, but I also did it for me because it was not just a matter of let me turn on the camera and just open my mouth and sing. It actually took a lot of prep. I had to
tell about it. I think people think it's magic because you've been on Broadway. And
that's not magic. No, it's not. So I really did go through all of the requests people gave. And I made the rules up front because I knew that if I said, I'll sing every song you request, that I did not want to spend time learning music I didn't know or learning music that wasn't in my wheelhouse. And so the deal was that you make a request, I'll go through the requests and I'll sing a song that I think I can do justice to in some way. And in some cases I didn't sing requests. Like the day Terrence McNally died, I sang from the Full Monty. I sang, You Gotta Love That Man from the Full Monty. And, sometimes just the spirit would move me and I would sing what I wanted to sing. But lots of people were like, I don't care what you sing, just sing something. And I've made a donation. But even on those days where I picked my own thing, regardless, I would have to go through the song. Obviously, I would have to warm up. I would have to, I also played this game where I would do things in the original key. So I would have, which was, I don't know why in the hell I decided to do that, but I added another layer of challenge sauce on that. But that was also fun. Like I was singing the Star to Be part in NYC, which is like wildly irresponsible belting. But I was like, that'll be fun. And I was singing Sheena Easton that was ridiculously high, but I was like, that'll be fun. And I did not make myself have to be perfect. Like the idea was to really make it homemade. So and
and those are all one take. Those are all like a single take of you talking and storytelling and talking about a BCFA and the rules of engagement, and then going straight into the song. Just one take.
And trying to also be succinct in my storytelling, so people aren't like, "Boo, just get on with it." You know, like I wanted for the stories to have relevance, and also another thing that I was particularly concerned about was tone, because this, you know, God bless everybody who's the artists that are putting stuff out there. I think it's, of course we want to laugh, and of course we want moments where we're forgetting what's happening, but also, you guys, like there's this, we're in the middle of a pandemic and people are dying.
That's right.
And so I never wanted to lose sight of the seriousness of what was happening. And I just wanted to always kind of let that into my space without letting it overwhelm my space. But, so many people in New York were suffering that I wanted to be very sensitive to that. So we did all of that, and that was awesome. And, then
raised a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, they raised BCEFA. I think they have raised almost, I'll check again today, certainly more than 3 million. I think they're well on their way to 4 million.
And you were just counting. Like, this is something I want to do, and I'm going to get other people to do it too. And
yeah, and a lot of like
incredible.
Heidi.
I know. I don't know. I just like I had a spark, you guys.
You had a spark. You caught a spark.
I caught a spark
and fanned it into a flame.
And the great thing about it was that it not only like I think raised a little money and made some people happy, but it also gave me such purpose. And so, and it also scratched that itch of mine that has been there to help people.
But correct me if I'm wrong, you were sort of organizing your days around it in a way.
100%.
Yeah.
And much like going to the gym, if I haven't done it by like 1 o'clock, it's not going to happen. And so like I knew I needed to do it early. It also was a good excuse for me not to get on the Peloton. Oh my God, that's a whole other, I need to get my ass back on that Peloton. It's not even funny. But so about 11 or 12 or 13, I don't know how many I did in a row. Nicholas and I were making turkey chili in the kitchen, and Nicholas had an idea to make this PSA. And there were a couple of things that were cooking in our lives. I mean, I had done this stuff for BCEFA, and both of us were feeling like, how can we be of use? That was definitely in the air. Yeah. But also, it was right at the time, and I'm sure most of us remember, it was right at the moment in the pandemic when those kids on the beach in Florida were like, I don't care if I have it. Yeah, the spring break kids were like, if I've got it, I've got it. It's not going to get in the way of my partying. And like, going to Mardi Gras and like renting a jet to go to Mexico for spring break. And that enraged me. And then on a much more personal level, Nicholas and I have a nephew who was not, and he's 17, and he himself was not taking the stay-at-home order seriously at all. And he was also aided and abetted by a friend and that friend's family who were absolutely convinced that this whole thing is a Democratic hoax. And so, so my nephew was very much, he's such a sensitive, awesome person. But for some reason, and maybe it's because he's a teenager, I don't know, maybe because there was another option that was way awesomer than staying home watching reruns with his sister. But reruns, I just dated myself. You don't have to watch a rerun ever again. If you don't
What are reruns?
What's a rerun?
Everything is a rerun immediately all the time now.
I know. Rerun. But anyway, so we were very concerned about him and angry, if I'm honest. And so there we are making turkey chili. And Nicholas says, I have an idea for a public service announcement. And he was the one with the spark for this, but he quickly lit my pants, and then my pants were on fire. And before we knew it, we had started this thing. But Nicholas's idea was to have Gen Z kids talk to their own generation about why they should stay home. And there won't be an adult in sight in the PSA, because everybody knows that when you're that age, you don't want to listen to an adult tell you what to do. If you are going to listen, you are going to listen to your peers. So, and we also, my stepsons are 16 and 19. And so that's very much we're in it right now with with a lot of the kids in our lives. Thank goodness our boys are, they're stuck on a farm outside of Albany, so they can't do anything even if they wanted to, but they're good boys.
For the uninitiated, Gen Z is between 12 and 22?
Yeah, it is. It depends on who you ask. 14, 22,
Loosely,
but I was reading something yesterday that said 7 and 22. So, it's yeah, I know it goes even younger.
Okay.
But we focused on Gen Zers of the age that they actually have the autonomy for their parents prior to the pandemic to have let them out of the house unattended. Kids that had that kind of freedom that now are missing it and also aren't necessarily getting sick, even if they have it. And so they just want to be out with their friends. So
it's amazing, Heidi, because what you have made is gorgeous. It's very moving. Despite what you listeners to this podcast may think, I actually don't cry that easily. And I've just found it to be so moving. But we were sort of, you were doing all the heavy lifting, and we were sort of walking alongside you as you were doing it, and helping when we could and cheering you on. How long did it take you to make that, from the spark of the idea to sharing it with the world? How long did it take you to make that?
I think it was 13 days. And I know. And that was, I think Nicholas and
I did not shower once.
I know. God, I still have not showered. I think initially we thought that it was going to take 4 days, and we were shocked.
Oh.
I know, we were idiots. We were shocked how long it actually ended up taking. But the reason it took as long as it did was because we kept looping in our friends who have these mad skills, and our madly gifted friends weren't going to do this half-ass. Everybody was like,
right, I'm
going to do this, but I'm going to do it the right way. And so, one of our first, Saturn rings as they go out, you keep stuff really tight at first, but then you have the next Saturn ring. And that was, Susan, the whole Title of Show family, because I trust you guys as my collaborative partners, and your sensitivity level, your intellect, your idea capabilities are all so not only ragingly off the charts, but they are my taste. And so I knew that I could trust you guys to support me, give me good ideas, point me in directions, and just be a general safety net when Nicholas and I were like, now what do we do? So that was the first Saturn ring. And you guys were consultants the entire time, which was wildly helpful. And then the very next Saturn ring was, I involved a producer friend of mine named Scott Silberstein, who is the executive director of HMS Media, who I met along my journey as a singer-actor doing a symphonic concert for PBS of Candor and Ebb music, and Scott and his company filmed that and produced it. And Scott and I have just remained friends. And Scott is a super awesome person who cares about the world. And we are we line up with not just our politics, but also just in what we care about and how we love to experience the arts. And so Scott, faster than I could finish the question, said, yes, we're in. And yeah, and I was a little shocked because I actually first called him because I was like, can you give us advice as to how to do this? And he was like, not only can I give you advice how to do this, but I'm going to give you I'm giving you my editor, I'm giving you her editing bay.
Incredible.
And
amazing.
Yeah. And so we just had these amazing tools. Jeff Bowen from Title of Show did our logo. We had, I know, it was very Wizard of Oz, where we just like had these friends along the way that were getting us to Oz. And we amassed this army of creative, awesome friends. And they helped us, make this PSA. One of the biggest things that was so necessary and helpful was we needed the kids. And I'm connected to several pots of Gen Z kids, but we put the word out to many of our trusted friends who are teachers. They have access to, we ended up calling them liaisons because they had access to large groups of Gen Zers. And that could range from, I teach dance and I have 10 kids that I can put the word out to I do master classes for Broadway Dreams, which is a nonprofit organization that goes all over the world, literally, and teaches kids from every stripe all kinds of theater skills. And I went to them and said, can you guys put this out to them? They said yes. And so
there you go.
We thought we were going to get 40 videos back, and we got more than 300.
Oh my God.
And I wrote the script. I know, it was bananas. As they kept coming in, it's that like cartoon.
Were you like,
yeah, like the numbers kept ticking up, and we had to keep increasing the Dropbox file, like paying for it to be bigger and bigger. And
amazing.
And all of these kids, literally from all over the world, made us these videos. And
the thing that was also struck me about it is you're also, because of the time sensitivity around the spread of the virus, I was keenly aware for you of the ticking clock.
Yes. Yeah. That was,
you were working as fast as you could.
Yeah. That always felt like, there's nothing like a little pressure to keep you up at night and wake you up at 4 a.m. And,
to push you, push you forward. Yeah.
And inspire and motivate for sure. But, I was so grateful to be working on something that I cared about, because I was reading in social media, a lot of my friends were like, well, I'm trying a new bread recipe today. And that's awesome. That is awesome. But I was like, I was working harder than I've worked in a year and a half. And not only was I working hard, but I was learning, like every day I was learning 20 new things, which sometimes made me want to jump out of my window. But most of the time, at the end of the day, I was like, oh my God, I learned how to use all kinds of coding in a website. I learned how to write a script today for kids and give directions to those kids so that they won't shoot it in front of a window and get backlit so we can't use their video. I amassed all of these skills like on the job, and now I've got those in my tool belt forever. So
that's right.
And I didn't hate it.
Yes. You were lit up by it.
Yeah.
For the podcast, we talked to Simone Policano, who, just because she saw a need, she created Invisible Hands, which is a service that is getting groceries to elderly and immunocompromised people in the New York, New Jersey area. And it went from a spark of an idea she had walking by a grocery store and seeing old people trepidatiously going in at the beginning of the pandemic. And she was like, oh, that's not good. And so she started by building a Google spreadsheet of volunteers. And it has since grown to, they have thousands of volunteers and they're getting food to thousands and thousands of people. And the mayor's office is telling them, oh, you're filling a need. You're filling this, there was a hole and you're filling it. And I just see, she used this phrase and I thought of it the whole time you were doing your project, which is we're building the plane and flying it simultaneously.
Yeah.
You were building essentially a not-for-profit and making work simultaneously.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You're also describing the phenomenon of being onto something.
You're onto something.
To be onto something is everything. And to not be onto something is to be in despair. And I think that a lot of people are craving, like, if I could just get onto something, it's what gets me up in the morning and jumping out of bed because I know what my purpose is today.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it continues.
I can feel it as you describe your experience. Like it's really palpable.
Yeah. Every single day, because it wasn't just like, okay, we put it on YouTube and God bless America. Like it was like, okay, now we're working with a PR firm because we want to see how what this reach is like. Okay, now we're doing press for it. Okay, now how can we reinvigorate the kids to want to share it? And that's where all of my new social media skills, I'm like, you guys, if I'm on, I was asking my stepson yesterday, I was like, is TikTok something that I should be learning how to do for this project? And he was like, I don't know. And like, I started to Google it and I was like, oh, sweet wounded Jesus. Like I don't quite understand TikTok yet, but that's my next thing that I'm going to see if that's, I'm a little eluded by, not just by TikTok, but also what's the other one? Snapchat. And I understand all of the fun filters that you can use. And that's certainly, I could waste a whole day on that. And it's totally not wasted. I don't know why I said that word. It's amazing to have arrow hearts shooting over your head. And I
could enjoy a whole day on that.
A whole day.
Yes.
But that is how the kids talk to each other. And
That's
so
right.
I was like, I think I need to get fluent in Snapchat and TikTok. So that's definitely on the list.
There you go. And then your brain keeps going.
Every day there is something new to do with this thing. And that is really exciting to me. And what this thing also did, which we were kind of anticipating, I guess, it sort of went hand in hand, is that because the project is called GenZStayHome, and it is the first initiative of what Nicholas and I have now started, which is a nonprofit organization called Broadway Because. And
oh my God.
Yeah, and
Heidi.
I know. It's talk about catching a spark and feeling so motivated by it.
God.
So over all these years that I've been working with BCEFA, I've had all of these ideas. Some of them are stupid, some of them are less stupid, some of them are awesome. And I've just stuck them in my pocket as wouldn't it be great if blank? And so when we got clear on the GenZStayHome, I was like, babe, we should do Gen Z Go Vote. We should do, I had my brain was filled with all of these other ideas to continue with this work. And that's when we were like, so we need a nonprofit. So now Gen Z has become the first initiative of Broadway Because, which is our nonprofit organization. There it is. How about that?
Oh, man.
I know.
How about
we have been
that?
so mentored by Tom Viola at the Actors Fund, who gave us seed money to start our nonprofit organization.
Because doing things, number one, doing things means doing things.
Yeah.
And number two, doing things costs money.
Yeah. Yeah, that is totally true, because it's not like, so we are accepting donations through the GenZStayHome.org website, but that is also, this is so like hot and gooey, fresh out of the oven, that the Broadway Because website is still under construction, but that should be launching momentarily. But
Great.
so we're accepting donations, but I was literally like, wait a minute, but it's not going, Nicholas and I were talking it through. By the way, my co-captain on this mofo is my husband, Nicholas Rolfing, who is an entertainment attorney who has the same passion for giving back that I do. And we're lucky enough to be in a situation where we have the means, we have the platform, we have the connections.
Yes.
So it seems like everything is lining up. But anyway, we're so excited that this is actually, it's a thing. It's actually happening. And we already this morning, we have been amassing our next army of experts, if you will, and people who we know have had a lot of experience with people who are trying to get other people to vote.
Yes.
And so,
Yes.
so
Yes.
we're going to
Yes.
educate ourselves with that.
Yes.
And before you know it, I'm going to know more about that than I ever thought I would know. And that is invigorating.
Erica Henningsen.
See?
We just talked to Erica Henningsen
man.
about that too.
Yeah.
You guys got to connect because she is passionate about that.
Yeah, I think it's
Passionate.
so important in the times that we are living in to make sure, I'm not pushing a political agenda. I'm pushing a
Neutral
social
principles, baby.
Yes.
We learned that
That's
from
right.
Donna Lieberman at the NYCLU. Neutral principles, baby. Get
Yeah.
passionate about it. Yes.
100%.
Love it.
Yeah.
Heidi, this is like insanity. I'm so excited. I can't even honestly, I can feel like my hands are tingling. I feel so excited for you and how big this is and how doable it is.
Yes.
It's one of those big, big dreams that, like you said, you have all of the building blocks that you need to accomplish this.
Yeah. That
Can
is
I-
super true.
You've talked a little bit about this, Heidi, but real talk, real talk, because somebody may be listening to you right now and they may be thinking, I had that idea and I put it in my pocket, but maybe I can pull that spark out and maybe I could, link arms with some like-minded people and make something out of it.
Yeah.
Talk to us about what are some of the biggest challenges you have come up against in this creative journey?
Oh, that's such a good question. We're so lucky in that we have built our careers in such a way that we are so connected to these people who happen to be able to lead the way if there was something we didn't know. But I do think that not being afraid to ask questions, not being like that, that's a big one.
That is great.
I think that, there's so much that I'm not good at. And I am so lucky to have so many smart people around me that if I just wasn't afraid to not say it perfectly, if I just said, okay, like to the title of show, Circle Sue's, I had all of these ideas that I would put to the group and say, this is all very half baked and I need a little guidance. I need a little, just a little mentorship. I need your opinion on this. And you guys always came back with, ideas, help of some sort. And I think surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you, willing to help you, that has been such a plus in this situation. But I was never afraid to ask a dumb question. And I assumed I would be asking all the dumb questions. And I really was okay with people hearing me not know. And because I was generally asking someone who did know. And I think,
right.
Not being afraid to ask someone who you think may have the answer. And we asked people, we went out to not just our friends, like our friends were definitely our first ask for things. And my friends are so talented and smart that it wasn't like we were getting bargain basement deliveries from my friends. My friends are so awesome that, they would always not only say yes immediately and most of the time do it for free, but they would also deliver something so cherry that, we were just so lucky. But when we our friend list was exhausted or we just didn't have a friend who specialized in something, we cold called people. I had to not be afraid and to just keep surfing the wave of this spark that was constantly motivating me, but to not be afraid of what I don't know and circle up with people that I love and trust, whose work I know is work that is like mine and I would be very proud to serve. And then when you've exhausted that, go cold call some people, like find people who have an agenda similar to yours. Like now we're in the getting it out to press and I'm literally like Googling things like, Gen Z and coronavirus. And I'm seeing the articles that come up and I'm sending our press release to people at the Washington Times or Washington Post who wrote an article about Gen Z and the coronavirus, because I'm like, well, clearly you cared about this enough to write an article. Would you like to double down on your piece and talk about my PSA? And so, I'm, sometimes you use people, and sometimes you don't, and don't be afraid. This Gen Z generation is inside this news story of the coronavirus. I think that they are underseen. And so far they have just been kind of like those crazy spring breakers on the beach. But these kids are, I believe the children are our future, you guys. And these are the kids that they are going to rule the world. And they are not just, a bunch of kids taking their tops off at Mardi Gras, even though they're doing that too. But I think these kids are caring, thoughtful individuals who are very concerned about their world. And, the fact that we got 300 submissions in a hot second, from kids all over the world. It wasn't a hard ask. It was like, and we had to shut the Dropbox down. And we had kids say, the Dropbox is locked. And I was like, yes, it is locked. You may not submit anymore. because all of these kids were like, I want to be in this. I want my voice to be heard. And so it is not just a bunch of irresponsible ding-dongs that don't care about their grandparents. This is an entire generation of kids who are thoughtful, who do care about politics, who do care about social issues, who do not want to contract the coronavirus. And so that's right. So Nicholas and I'm surrounded by these kids right now because of my stepsons, because of my nieces and nephews. They're all in that age group. And I love them so much. And if we could do something to even, it sounds so corny, but if we can even turn one kid around, one kid, that's it. That's all we needed to do. And to me, that was so like, it was like a total, spark. I was like, that's it. That's what I want to do. I want to make a difference. I want to collaborate with people that I love. I want to make things I'm proud of that will make a difference in the world. And, occasionally if I get to sing a little bit too, that would be great.
Oh my God. Give the people what they want, Heidi.
But this has given me so much meaning and it's exciting to think that it's just the beginning.
We can hear it in your voice. Yes. And I think it's going to change the course of your life, Heidi.
I really do. And
I think you're going to,
and a lot of other people's lives.
I
honestly.
agree. I think you're going to save some lives. I think you're going to change your own life. And I hope when people hear this, they'll know that they also can get onto something. They can catch a spark and they can make something happen.
Just so make some turkey chili and let it flow.
and some turkey chili too. And a new bread recipe.
Yes.
Heidi, in regard to Broadway Because or or in any creative aspect, is there a particular thing that you have in your mind that you know you need to do before you're done? Before it's all said and done.
Yeah. The Gen Z Go Vote thing is definitely, that's the next initiative.
That's hot.
But here's, and that's kind of like a no-brainer. That one, I know it's going to be a lot of work because
doing things means doing things.
Woo! I love that. But I've had this idea for something and it's still like, it's like raw hamburger meat still, but I've had this idea for years. And now that this is happening, as God is my witness, I am going to do this. I have no idea how this is going to work yet, but, one of the ideas that I have had literally for years is, getting lucky enough to be in Broadway shows, especially if you get to be the first one to do one, you get a lot of fancy opening nights and you end up, wearing a lot of fancy clothes. And so, once you've been photographed in those clothes, you certainly can wear them again. But, and when I was younger, I wore things over and over and over again. But, my idea has been once a Broadway actor is done with said dress or even like
fancy clothes.
Fancy clothes. I would like to do something to collect those clothes. My husband already, I can tell he's gonna be like, where are we gonna put those clothes? But that's later. Listen, we're gonna figure that out. That's right. And I want to give them to people who otherwise they would not be able to have a prom dress or a dress for a fancy occasion or a tuxedo or whatever. But that is something that I have wanted to, I know details. That's something that I have wanted to do forever. And
now you have a vehicle to do it.
And I'm going to do
it.
And
you know that everything is figure outable.
Yeah.
And you're going to do it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So that is hot.
I don't know.
You are lit up. You are doing so much. You've already said this, but just bear with us. What's it all for?
I really do feel like there has been something in me that has always wanted to be able to make some kind of a difference. And I think the things that I have been the most proud of in my career are the things that on the other side of doing them have actually changed a life. And sometimes that's you guys know from doing Title of Show, that show was so inclusive and so spoke for the misfit toy in all of us that how many kids did we talk to who said, because of Title of Show, I now have the blank to do blank, we talked to so many pretty unhappy kids who Title of Show gave hope to and direction to, and making that kind of work always, the feedback from knowing that the work I made someone feel better in some way or pulled them out of a hole or sparked creativity in them, I was like, wait a minute. So I have the power to not just entertain, which is worth a lot and is fun and is satisfying, but I also have the power to actually plant a seed on the other side of this fence and watch it grow for someone else. And that's very powerful in my life. And I want to do more of that.
This is so exciting because you are it's a great answer, but you are literally personifying the entire purpose of this podcast right now. You are a spark. You are throwing off sparks literally at every breath.
Aww.
And anyone in your sphere can be like, oh, I caught one. Now I'm going to run with it. And that's like the whole idea behind all of this. And I'm just feeling so grateful and so excited for you and so thankful that you're for sharing this story with all of our sparklers who can now, just feel emboldened to run off and fan their own flames.
Spark it up, Sparky.
Really exciting.
Well done.
Spark it up, Sparks.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sweet Heidi.
Heidi,
Guys,
thank you.
Thank you for asking me to talk to y'all. This has been just so great. I love you both so much.
We love you
Ditto.
too.
We love you too. This is great.
That's our little nut.
That's little
nuts.
Are we going little balls?
Someone
little
grew
nuts?
some little nuts.
They're kind of they're growing. They're like little junior balls now.
Yes. Every day and every way, your little nuts are getting bigger and bigger. Well, that's it. We hope that this
That's all we have time for, everybody.
Do you like that seg? We hope this put another bunch of sparks in your file. Listen to us. If there's a spark you'd like us to explore, or if like Heidi Blickenstaff, you've taken a spark and you fanned it up into a bonfire and you'd like us to share that, email us at thesparkfile@gmail.com or submit it through our website, thesparkfile.com.
We will even happily take your feedback, but you know the price of admission. First, you have to share creative risk that you have taken recently.
That's right. And if you need us, you can find us on social media at The Spark File. And if you want more Sparky Num Nums, be sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe, rate, 5-star review it. If you like this podcast, share it with people you love. And if you didn't like it, I don't know, Heidi, what do you say to your critics?
Y'all can go fuck yourself. I'm just kidding.
Our favorite expression. Y'all, if something tickles your fancy and gets your creative juices flowing, we are writing you a forever permission slip to make that thing that has been knocking at your door. It's your turn to take a spark and fan it into a flame.
You got to get up and choreograph it. You got to get Shakespearean and Falstaff it. You got to choose to make some change and Heidi Blickenstaff it.
You got to take it.
That's amazing.
And make it. Heidi. We love you, Heidi.
I love you, Heidi. I love you guys.
When I bump into something that inspires me, I dump it in my spark file. Could be something that I wanna make or how I wanna be. I pump it in my spark file. I jump into my spark file. Let's open up the spark file.
Hi, friends. Susan Blackwell from the Spark File here to let you know that the doors are open for the Spark File Illume, a 9-month group creativity coaching mastermind that invites you to be the chief creative officer and chief marketing officer of your creativity. But what does that mean? That means in 9 months in Illume, you will clarify and advance your big creative goals and learn how to effectively share your work with the world. Now, if you're listening to this and you're an experienced creative or an accomplished professional who seeks a space where it is safe to attempt something you've never tried before, or complete a big creative project, or take your work to the next level and acquire the skills needed to share your creative work with the world, Illume might be right for you. We are calling in emotionally intelligent, high-functioning creatives who are ready to level up. You can find out more by going to thesparkfile.com/Illume, but do it now to find out if Illume is right for you and to save with early bird discounts. That's thesparkfile.com/Illume. Take a leap, take a risk. Go to thesparkfile.com/Illume and join us for Illume.